I'm Gretchen,
I'm Corey.
and we are Two Girls in Jesus. We are here to check in with y'all. We are coming off a well deserved break after a lot of weeks of meeting with y'all once a week, right, Corey? Once a week?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we took a very short break to just kind of regroup and think about what we were going to do next, how we were going to do whatever we were doing next, how we were going to do it. So we just wanted to check in with each other and check in with y'all. So
Yeah,
what
we
you
only took a week off.
it was only a week?
It was only a week. Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm positive it was 1 week. It was just last week we didn't record.
See, I have no sense of time in the summer. No sense
So,
of
so
I
you
don't
were
know
right.
what
It was just
day
a
it
very
is.
short break.
Wow, it felt like 2 or 3 weeks to me.
Well, that last study was just it was deep and hard and um it just needed that week off.
Yeah, I agree. It was very hard. It made me look at a lot of things I thought I had laid to rest, but really didn't. So it made me look at them again, deal with some of the residual impacts from things that happened. And that was an 8 week long dig we did on relationships.
And we will
Four
not do
versus eight.
another 8 week long one
No, we will
ever
not.
again.
We will not. But that was four verses a week for 8 weeks, concentrating on relationships. I don't regret doing it because I'm thankful for the things that God revealed to me throughout that study. But emotionally, I was exhausted.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So what did you do last week? What did you look at last week?
Not really the Bible.
Really?
Gonna be honest, didn't really look at the Bible, read the couple of verses, but stepped away and just said, I need to breathe. I need to be with my own thoughts. And ironically, this week, actually today, I picked up a book that my daughter gave me for Mother's Day. So, way back in May. And I just want to share what I read because this kind of makes sense. So, this book is called Mostly What God Does, and it's by Savannah Guthrie. Looks like this. And the beginning of the book was kind of funny because, well, I don't want to give too much away, but I'll just say the foreword, which is normally written by someone else, she acknowledges that and acknowledges that her editor or whatever told her, hey, you don't write your own forward. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to write my own forward. Uh, so that kind of sounds like something I would do. And then I've only gone through the first chapter, but it already revealed to me something that I just wanted to share with everyone because it kind of puts into context how I felt last week. And it says, I have always believed in God, but I have not always found it easy to believe that He is unfailingly good, or at least well intentioned toward me. There have been seasons I have been disappointed with Him, icing Him out, or too ashamed to face Him. When I say seasons, I don't mean weeks or months, but years. Years of just keeping in touch here and there with my faith, not much tending to my relationship with God. These times used to make me feel guilty and nervous, like I was living on the edge and outside His will, nor doing the things I should, not even praying, let alone any other spiritual practice. And then later, she ends up saying, instead of feeling guilt for not keeping up with devout practices, imagining that God was disappointed or disgusted with me or had written me off entirely, what if I believed that what he was really doing was loving me the whole time? When we talked about loving people from afar, that's what that last sentence made me think of. Sometimes I just need to let that person be. I love them, but they need to stay in their side. So I think that maybe God was understanding that I needed a little bit of just me time. His presence was still here. He was still here, but I just needed a break from from the weight of everything. It was
Yeah.
starting to feel just so heavy. And so I just had to take a break. But then I picked up this book today, knowing that we were getting started. I was like, let me start my morning off reading. And that's where I ended up.
Well,
So
awesome. I love what that says. You'll have to send me a picture of that book and I'll get it too. So we'll both have it and we can read it at the same
yeah,
time.
I
Yeah.
think it's gonna have some great stuff in it.
Yeah. Um, you know, read that last line to me again,
Uh-oh.
if you don't mind. Uh-oh, did you shut it already?
No,
I'm
it's fine. It's
sorry.
fine. I can find it. Well, it'll only take a second. The okay. Well, probably just this part. What if I believed that he was really doing that what he was really doing was loving me the whole time
Yeah.
instead of judging, being
Yeah.
disappointed. Like that's
Yeah.
the gist of it.
Yeah. It made me think of a parental relationship.
Right.
And you and I discussed this in the last season that, our relationship with God is that parental relationship. He is God our Father, you know? And sometimes in all relationships, you just have to take a step back sometimes. And that other person is not mad at you. They are not disappointed in you. They are not. I remember when I was married, there were times I just needed to sleep on the couch. It was not that I was upset with my husband or that I didn't want him near me or, it had nothing to do with him. I just needed that space for whatever reason, you know? And it always caused an issue when I slept on the couch because there's something wrong if I do that. But when he did it, it was totally okay. Hence, we're not married anymore. But it didn't mean anything. I just needed that space for
Yeah.
just that little bit of time, you know? And
My mom and dad used to well, they worked together, right? They had a business together, so they were together a lot. And she said sometimes she would just say, well, baby, don't you think you should go play golf today? Why don't you go play golf today? And it was really because she just needed her space. So
yeah,
I think it's that way in most relationships. And same thing with like your best friend. If you're always doing stuff together, at some point you're like, okay, I just need a day,
yeah,
a day, So it's friendships. Oh my gosh, we just went back into relationships, but
I
in a
know.
good way. In a
Yeah.
good way.
But relationships are such a huge part of our everyday life. It's kind of hard not to talk about them or think about them if you.
Yeah.
But when you were reading that, that's just what it made me feel like our relationship with God. It's okay to step away from just to need breathing space. But you said it perfectly. God was still here. God's presence was still here. As long as you weren't like pushing God away, taking that time, his
Yeah.
presence was still there. You still felt his presence. I think that's totally okay.
Yeah. Going back to something that my mom told me is that her dad really wasn't her dad was not a large presence in her life. He kind of would come and go, come and go, come and go. But at the end of the day, he was still her dad and he loved her.
Yeah.
And so I think the same is said for us. Like, even when we walk away from God because we're mad or bored or whatever it might be, we still know that he's there in our hearts. We really do. I mean, at least I shouldn't say everyone because everyone doesn't, but people of faith, they do. They know
Yeah.
that we can turn around and go back to him at any point in time and he still loves us completely.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that I kind of dealt with this week is my faith, not, faith in God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, the Trinity, whatever you choose to call it in your belief system. But I have total, complete, utter faith in areas of protection, provision, health. Um,
Oh, you're going to love this book. It just
yeah,
reminded me of, and it was probably in the foreword. You keep talking. I'm going to find the words that she
okay.
used.
I have total and complete utter faith. Those are the areas that I can think of right off the top of my head. But when it comes to areas of relationships, I have that much faith.
Yeah.
And I know that God has restored marriages. I know that God has, He just didn't restore mine, either one of mine. I know that, God has specifically put two people together and ordained their walk through life together. He's just never done that for me. Um, I know that there's been people out there that have been married for, excuse me, for years longer than I've been born,
Yeah.
but I've just not experienced that in my life with, people immediately, my immediate family.
Yeah.
So in those areas, while I have 150% faith that he'll do it for other people, I just don't have that faith that he'll do it for me.
Well, I'm going to reference this book again, Mostly What
Right.
God Does by Savannah Guthrie. And what she says in her foreword that she wrote herself,
That's
um,
so cool.
she says, "What are the essentials of faith if faith could be broken down into six easy pieces? What would those building blocks be? What are the six foundational aspects of a connection to God?" And this is what she came up with: love, presence, praise, grace, hope, and purpose. And she says this six not so easy pieces. So she admits, like,
Yeah.
here's the six things, and it's not easy, and relationships aren't easy because we know what all we had to go through
Yeah.
in our last study, and that it's hard and it takes work, and nobody really talks about what type of work it takes to forgive, to accept. And God does it every single day with us.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, there's so many days where I'm like, I hope he didn't see that. I hope he doesn't hear me. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he's paying attention to somebody else right now.
Yeah.
How can he watch all of us? He didn't see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it'll be like, I know that so and so's over there doing that. Maybe he's focused on them right now and not that word I just said, or that thing I just did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But truth of the matter is, no matter what pit I have ever been in, standing at the very top, no matter how deep that pit was, at the very edge were his arms reaching down, just waiting for me to reach up. Because what I learned throughout the things that I read last week, the verses that I looked up last week to help me through that was that, and I know this, I know it. I've said it before, not so very long ago. Okay. Is that I have to allow him to pull me out. I have to allow him to take stuff from me, take hurts, scars, take the wounds. Um, because God is not a thief. He is not going to take it from me if I'm still hanging on to it. He's just not going to. And Corey, that was kind of hard for me to realize that, I'm still in some of those places because I won't let it go. And it's not because I don't want to, I just don't know how to.
And I love when people say, just let it go. Forget about it. Leave it in the past. I wish I was one of those people. I really do. Because I will let something eat me up for years and years. And I'm still holding on to things that I need to let go of. So maybe that's what my prayers need to be about.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Speaking of prayers, something else I struggled with, and I'm still struggling with it, is these just random intrusive thoughts when I'm trying to pray. And it got to the point where it was really just making me mad. And it was getting me to the point where I didn't even want to start praying, you know? Um, And so I did, some biblical research, some research in the Bible, as far as, our thoughts and all. And a lot of it, some of it can be the enemy attacking you.
Mhm.
But with that being said, most of it is because of unresolved things in your heart and in your mind. You're not doing the right things. You
Yeah.
know, God hears all prayers. The Bible says that God hears all prayers. But there's a passage, I think there's a verse, I think it's in Isaiah. Hang on, let me look. I think it's in Isaiah that says, hang on, I'm almost there.
You have to remember what color you highlighted
Yeah,
it.
it's Isaiah 115. And it says, when you lift up your hands in prayer, I will not look. Though you offer many prayers, I will not listen, for your hands are covered with the blood of innocent victims.
Hmm.
So, I took that to mean because I've got this one specific relationship that I'm praying a lot about and for right now that I have. Um, and so when I read that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, he's not going to answer this prayer as long as I'm still doing things that can junk this relationship up. He's not going to listen to those prayers. And that's exactly what that verse said to me. And so I really had to, yeah, there were several other verses that I looked up as well about God hearing us. But with the thoughts invading my prayers, that has nothing to do with God. That has everything to do with me.
Yeah, I definitely think that my intrusive thoughts, they're not, I don't think they're from the devil. I mean, maybe he somehow sneaks them into my head because he knows that they're there. But mine are trauma. And I will say this also. My intrusive thoughts are not always the trauma stuff. So it's just squirrel moments, like I'm trying to have a conversation with God because I feel like that's how I do it better. And
Mhm.
then something will put my mind over here, something will put my mind over there. But when I'm having intrusive thoughts, it's usually not when I'm praying. It's when I can be doing anything and I'll just get intrusive thoughts. And when they're really overwhelming me, that's when I try to really dig deep into a conversation with God of anything other than what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. But there were some real practical things, some human things that you can do. Like I tend to, I pray on and off all day long, you know.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's just a conversation with God. That's all prayer is. And conversation like what you and I are having now, that involves you pausing and listening, you know. But I tend to try to pray before I go to sleep, for our country and for the world and for our leaders and pastors and you try the big prayer of the day, if you will, you know. And so one thing that I said I could do is to stop laying down when I do that. So, I mean, some people get on their knees, some people sit in a chair, some people stand up, some people lay on the floor, on the ground, whatever. But, stop like being in going to sleep position when I do that. Um, Quit thinking that my prayer before I go to sleep has to be this long, drawn out prayer. It could be a short, concise prayer. It can look just like one of the prayers I pray throughout the day.
Yeah.
You know? Um, Change up the format of my praying. I try to always praise God first and then thank Him. So I try to praise, thank, and then ask for things. Um, just change up the format. Let's
Yeah.
thank Him, praise Him, then ask. Just something different, so it's not just like a memory type thing. Like when you're working out, you end up having to deal with muscle memory after you do the same move for so long.
Yeah.
Um, And then and this one just blew me away. And I don't know why I had not thought of it before. I can ask God to intervene with this situation. Like I can ask Jesus to pray for me for this situation, you know? Like that just blew me away. It just blew me away that I could ask him to pray for me, and just to intervene in this situation. I'm like, why did I never think of that before?
Yeah, I think what pushes a lot of people away from God is when they think that they've done everything the right way to ask God for help in this thing. And I know I had a circumstance in my life where I've never prayed like that in my life. Um, Broken down. You know, some people hit rock bottom. This wasn't an alcohol or drug thing. Um, but it was something that just was very traumatic going on in my life. And I felt like he didn't hear me. He didn't answer me. Now it's because I didn't see what was going on the outskirts of things. Um, and that there was a reason that what was happening. All I saw was I'm asking God for help and he's not helping me.
Yeah.
So I don't know when you know somebody who's in that moment, if they reach out to you, I don't know what words, I don't know how you draw them into that because it, I mean, it definitely, it's hard to understand how God can do all of these things, but he won't help me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like just what I was telling you about earlier about my faith, having the faith in all those areas, but except that one,
Yeah.
because I've not seen it. I've not experienced it. You know, you're exactly right. So, what good happened to me this week? I feel like I dealt, even though we weren't per se digging specific verses, I feel like I dealt with a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah. But was there something good?
Yeah, I mean, I got to serve yesterday, which I have a servant's heart, so it's just right up my alley. But our community, there's a church here that I don't know, they get a truck full of food, like fresh produce and fruits and vegetables and juices and all kinds of canned goods and box goods. Um, it's a whole truckload. They bring it once a month, and we get to pack up boxes for people in the community that are struggling.
Yeah.
And so I got to help that with that. I don't get to help throughout when we're in school because they do it, during the week when I'm at work, but I get to help in the summers, and that just does my heart so much good. It
Yeah.
just, oh, it does my heart so much good just to be out there and helping somebody do something, you know? Um, what else good happened? Um, my mom's church, it's kind of crazy. My mom's church did a baptism in the river
Mhm.
Sunday afternoon. They had 42 or I can't remember if she said 42 or 45, but they had 42 or 45 people get baptized.
That's amazing.
I know.
Was that like after vacation Bible school? The
No,
week
they don't do a
before?
vacation Bible school that I know of. It was just
Wow.
after service one day.
That's
And it
pretty
was,
impressive.
people, it wasn't just people from their church, it was people from, just within the community. So I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. What good happened to you?
Well, I spent some time at the pool with some friends. Chris and I went down to the beach yesterday to test out our new tent so we don't look like fools in front of our friends when we try to put it up. One of my other friends told me about it. Well, we were at the beach with her and she was telling me, oh, this is the easiest one I've ever had. And when she was taking it down, she's like, it's just this easy. And to put it up, and I was like, it's not going to be just that easy. It is. It's
Wow.
called Cool Cabana in case you'll need one. That's super easy. It's not an umbrella. It doesn't blow away. Well, I had several people tell me theirs don't blow away. So let's hope ours doesn't either.
Yeah.
Um, but so it was nice to just get out and experience feeling the sun. And that's something that I've always loved. And
Yeah.
so this coming weekend, if the weather works out, we're going to go kayaking. And I think that'll be pretty cool. I haven't done that.
Yeah.
So there's some springs that are about an hour away, and we're going to go do that. So making plans for things like that, and just trying to visit and connect with people that I felt like I was falling away from. That you know, there's no reason. They've not done anything to where they shouldn't be in my daily life, but it just people fall out of place sometimes, and you get into habits, and you don't make those connections like you did at one time, going and having lunch or even just a phone call.
Hmm.
Um, so I just felt like I did some reconnecting and working on myself, and cooking a little bit because I love cooking, and I bought some stuff so that I can bake some stuff, and
Wow.
that's kind of my relaxation.
Really?
Yeah.
That
Oh,
just sounds
what?
like a big old chore and job to me.
Well, like how you said you have a servant's heart. I do as well. But part of my love language is cooking for others or
Yeah.
baking for others, bringing things to people and just showing up and, leave something at their house to surprise them, help them with one of their dinners during the week or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so nice. I'd rather scrub their toilets.
Well, I just did mine, but
Yeah.
I'll call you next time, I guess.
Okay. So speaking of that, I was supposed to come visit too. Have we talked about that? Have we decided on dates for that? We
Not
haven't.
yet.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
okay. We need to do that.
Yeah, because you'll be back in school before we know it.
I know. I know. I had so much planned for this summer, and I have legit been watching TV and floating in my pool.
That's okay. The rest of the year, outside of summer break, you're you're dealing with a lot, and you have to give your body time to rest and renew, right? Not just
Yeah.
rest, but renew everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I have truly. This is like the first time I can remember in a really long time that has truly felt like summer vacation. The past few summers have just been insane crazy. It felt like I was going somewhere all the time.
Well, luckily, you're not terribly far from me. So, other than this 4th of July thing, I'm open. So you can
Okay.
come whenever.
All right.
Got this nice bed over here. All I gotta do is wash the
I know
sheets,
you have the
clean the
best
bathroom.
bedroom in the whole world.
There's a TV in here now.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
I might never come out of it then. So, I did want to share this with you. Um, so Sunday, this happened Sunday. Um, my dad has four children, me, two more girls, and a son. And all of us have had, me and my baby sister only had one child apiece. The other two had 12, it seems like. Not really, but a lot. And so for Father's Day, my baby sister ordered a t-shirt for my dad, and it said World's Best Dad, and then it had all four of our names under that. And then it said, Now I'm the world's best papa. And it had all the grandchildren's name under that. Cute as pie. And they sent me a picture of it, and I was like, really? Like, my kid's name's not on there? And so my initial knee jerk reaction was anger. Like, how dare they not put my kid's name on there? Or how dare they forget it? It's not like I thought anyone did it intentionally. I just figured they forgot about him. You know what I mean? And so then my niece is calling me and she's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I know. And then I was like, she was like, do you want me to say something? I'm like, you better, because I'm angry, I'm mad right now. Like, how could they forget my child? Some choice words that were not in the Bible. And I've asked forgiveness for that. But you know, and my sister sent me a text and she's like, oh my gosh, his name was on there that they just left it off. I don't know how it happened, why it happened, but his name was on there. Everybody was on there and they just skipped it for whatever. Um, and then, later on, my other sister was like, she would not have done that on purpose. I'm like, I never once thought she did it on purpose. That was not the thing. And some other people in the text thread kind of got offended that I was upset about it. Okay. So I'm telling you all that to say, when I was talking to my other sister or texting with her later that evening, when the one that said, they'd never do that on purpose, I said, I know they would not never do that on purpose, purposely leave him off. I know that. I said, but you have to understand, I have felt left out my entire life. And I have been in certain circumstances because I wasn't here. I was just left out of things. So when something like that happens, I know very real what it feels like. Because my thing was then, I was like, if anybody has put that on social media, please take it down before he sees it. Because I don't want him to see that. And they were like, oh my gosh, it was an accident. It was just a mistake, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't care if it was or not. I don't want his feelings hurt like that. I don't want all of his people to see, oh, Luke's name got left off. I know what that feels like. And so had that happened, if it had been reversed, okay, if it had happened to one of my other sisters, they would not have had that same reaction. You know what I mean?
I would have, and I hadn't been left out of anything, but I would have.
Really? I mean, you
Yes.
would have, I mean, I'd have been like, how come my kid's name's not on there?
Yeah,
But
I definitely would have.
yeah,
Definitely.
but I mean, I wouldn't have had the reaction of
Oh, no,
just left
no,
them out.
no. I would have taken it very personally. Like, who ordered the shirt? Who did the proofreading? Who gave it to him and didn't realize my kid's name wasn't on there? I'd had all the things.
Yeah. And then I think what further hurt my feelings, and y'all, it takes a lot to hurt my feelings. It really, really
Your
does.
child.
I do not offend easily unless it's my child or my parents.
Mhm.
You mess with any of those, and I'm gonna make it hurt. Um, but I lost where was I going?
I don't know. We were talking about the shirt.
Yeah, totally forgot what the point of saying all that was.
Oh, well, you said
Um,
something else further hurt your feelings. Sorry. That's where you were going with it. What else hurt your feelings
oh
about it?
yeah, what further hurt my feelings was when he put it on and they're all taking pictures of it. None of them noticed my kid's name wasn't on there.
Because one of them's got 12 kids.
It's my brother.
They just saw all the alphabet on there.
Yeah. So
Good to
my
go.
brother is the one that has like 20. He has two of his own, and then he married, his wife, and she had three. So
So
they've
we
got
went,
five together.
so not 20.
I mean, might as well. If you've got more than two, it might as well be 20. And if you've got more than one, it might as well be 10. Is in my opinion. That's just the way I feel about that.
Yeah,
It's a lot of kids.
My sister has five, and you're right. Once you get past two, you have as many as you want.
In my opinion, I'm not saying people are wrong that do it. Children are a blessing, even if there is 20. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm not saying anything like that. It's just a lot. Like, how do people afford that? I could barely afford one. I mean, literally. And then people that have two, like, I don't know what people do. I don't know.
Somehow they make it. God
They do.
provides.
I mean, I don't know. I just, it gives me anxiety to think about that many children. It really does. But I teach them all day long, and that's fine. I just don't want them up in my house. Anyway, so, but so and when my sister texted me, she's like, I hope I hope you're not mad. And I'm like, I'm not mad. It was just that initial being left out.
Why don't you get him a shirt that says Papa's favorite? Luke.
I'm going to. Well, they reordered, my sister reordered a correct one, you know. So we'll see if it comes in correct. But anyway, but you know, it just I don't like it when people invalidate your feelings, you know. They're my feelings and they're valid, you know. I don't like when people do that. Like they're your feelings. You're allowed to have them. You're allowed to feel them. You know, you need to mind how you react to them, right? You and I, we talked about that a lot in what dig was that? The forgiveness, I think. We talked about that a
Yeah.
lot.
Why was forgiveness not as hard as relationships?
I don't know. But forgiveness was all throughout relationships,
Right.
but it was not as hard. And I would have thought it would have been harder,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. Dealing with them other people, that's something else. And how they treat you and how the things that they do that you have to deal with their faults. What was it that we talked about that one day? Something you said about Chris that, you know, is a fault, you know, but you would never like divorce him over it. You can't hold that fault against it. It was something that he did. And it was so funny.
Yeah, probably not closing the drawers.
Yes, that's what it was.
I know what it is. I know what the fault is.
That was so funny to me. Oh, that was
The
funny.
other day, I actually had the pantry door open. He goes, I can't believe you didn't close that. And I'm like, because I'm about to put this back in there. Uh,
And I like that about bath towels. Like my bathroom has its own towels. Luke's bathroom has its own towels. The kitchen has its own towels. The dogs have their own towels. And you don't mix them up and wash them together. You just don't. Like I will start panicking if I know that Luke has put one of my towels, like if he ran out of towels and got one of my towels, and then when he washed his towels, he put my towel in with his towels. There's something wrong with that. Like, I don't know why there's something wrong with it, but there is.
I was going to say they're all getting soap, right?
Well, yeah, but so if I notice, like if I take his towels from the washer and put them in the dryer and there's one of my towels, I take it out and put it back in my towels, dirty clothes, because I got to rewash it with their towels. But if I miss it, if I don't swap the clothes over, the towels over, and he puts them away, he will not put my towel away. He'll just leave it somewhere. And I'm like, he washed my towel with his nasty towels. Not those towels are nasty, but like you just don't mix that.
Well,
You
it's
don't
a
do
good
that.
practice because I had a friend who had a staph infection, and then other people in their family got it, and it's because what they were told to do is scrub everything in the house down, but also like each person gets their own color towel so that
See?
you're not mixing. But
See?
they're still getting washed. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't
I
mix
don't
the
know how I feel
towels.
about it.
You don't mix the towels. Like Chris can't leave his drawers open. You can't mix my towels.
Now, yeah. I mean, I do like my towel.
Yeah.
I do,
But
but
see,
it's because
like
it's
we can,
bigger. I can wrap up in it.
yeah, yeah. I
And
get
he
that.
dries off like this. I'm done.
Yeah.
Drips
Yeah.
water everywhere. There's
Yeah.
no fault.
Like it doesn't bother me for us to wash our clothes together. Like we can
That's
mix.
weird.
No, no, it's not. That's okay. But you cannot mix the towels. I don't know why. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why it's such a big deal, but
Right,
you
you need to
just
go to therapy for
don't.
this.
I know you
You
just
gotta
don't do
dig
it.
it. You gotta dig deeper.
You think I can find a Bible verse about that?
No.
No.
Well, I don't. I'm gonna Google it.
Mm.
I heard the funniest thing today, or read it or something. It might be in that book. Who knows? It's in that book. I mean, I really hadn't done anything today but read that book. Um, I mean, that sounds terrible. I read the forward in the first chapter. Uh, that's the only thing of substance that I've done today. But she said something about she Aliced her way through Google, like
You did
Alice in
what?
Wonderland. She Aliced her way, like Alice in
Oh,
Wonderland, through Google.
uh-huh.
It was great.
That's funny. Another thing I wanted to share with you was I saw an advertisement. I don't know what social media platform it was, But on one of the socials, there was an advertisement for a Bible. And this one Bible had like four different versions. So, like, if you opened up like your Bible, like right here, see, can you see? So it would have like whatever book you're in chapter two, verse whatever through whatever. It'd be one version here, same chapter, different version, different version, different. There were the four or five different versions in one Bible. I would have bought that thing had it been it was like $55, but I still would have bought it had it been versions that I referenced a
Was
lot.
it the Spiral Bible?
No, it wasn't the spiral. I don't like the spiral because it comes in, there's so many different, there's not just one. It's like four.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that, but um I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I really want one in versions. I wish you could pick what versions you want. And they could just print you a Bible.
Yeah.
That would be cool, huh?
I just think that Bible would be huge with all those versions in there.
Well, there's like no commentary. There's no, like in this Bible that I have, like, hang on, I'm gonna show you.
They don't have the intros
Like
and all
this
the
much of it is just reference stuff. This isn't Bible. Revelation is over right here. So all of those pages right there is just like reference stuff. And then in the beginning of it, it's not as much, but there's probably 15 pages before you get into Genesis. Like all of those pages are just before Genesis. So, but there's none of that. There's no commentary. It's just all verses.
Yeah, I'll keep using my iPad. Click, click at the app, the Bible app.
Yeah. See, I just need a book. I like
I
holding
gave
it.
all my books away when I moved from the big house and we downsized. I got rid of all of mine.
Yeah. I like holding it sometimes and I'll just rub the pages like this. Is that what make me weird?
No.
I'll just hold it. And sometimes just put it in my lap, just hold it. I don't know.
I have my mom's Bible. It's Catholic. It's in you know.
I saw on one of the socials somebody had their grandma's, or maybe she said great, it was either grandma or great grandma's Bible, but it was 210 years old. It
Wow.
was beautiful. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my whole life, as far as a book goes.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I want one of those.
I'll
Anyway,
look for one.
a 210-year-old Bible.
Yeah, I'll look for it in the thrift shop.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah, there's a
bookstores.
thrift shop here that if you find a Bible and you want it, they give it to you for free. They don't make you pay for it.
That's nice.
Yeah, I thought so too. It's the Macon.
I'll bet they're not 210 years old.
No, they're not. They're not. But I always keep Bibles so that I can give them to people that don't have one.
I have ones on my iPad. I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's probably 100 versions on there.
Yeah.
I got them all.
Yeah. Yeah. I meanwhile, I've got all the book versions. Like all the versions that I reference, I have the books. I don't use the books all the time to look them up. Sometimes it's easier just to use the Bible app, but I have all the versions in print because I'm a weirdo like that. I like books.
I decided I had too much stuff and I got rid of most of my stuff. But the next one will be the house that we stay in on the beach.
Yeah.
And then I can start putting stuff in it for my kids to take out later.
Yeah. But this house on the beach has to have a guest room. Is good or not better than the one you have now. I'm just saying.
Oh, it'll still have the same comfortable bed, but it's not going to be as big as this one.
Well, it doesn't have to be that big. It's just gotta have the
Okay.
nice bathroom, the same bed, those wonderful pillows. Those are some
You're going
good
to take
pillows.
one home with you this time.
I
Those things
might.
are slick. I can't believe you like them. I'm like, my head's
I love
full.
those pillows. And I even tried to buy one and I got it and it was not the same.
Oh, well, all right then. It's here. It's in the world. Everybody knows you get the pillows when you come.
Okay.
They can go
Yay!
home with you.
Yay!
I can't do that for everyone who comes and stays here though.
Right. Yeah. I understand.
So
I'll bring a
people-
pillow to replace it.
That's all right.
All right. So, anything else we should talk about?
Well, I'm hoping that some of our listeners, if you're listening, or watchers, if you're watching, or even just the people who are on Facebook, like that we find a way to get them to let us know what they want to talk about. Like I don't want to be preachy, because I'm not. There's a lot I don't know. I am not well versed in the Bible, but I am daily working on my relationship with God and
Right.
growing that relationship.
All right.
And I want others to feel like they have a place to go to where they can ask questions. Because I mean, I ask or answer things incorrectly all the time. So, you know, there are dumb questions. I do ask them. Uh,
You do
I,
not. There are no dumb questions. And I'm a teacher.
there are dumb questions. There are. I have been in situations where the questions are dumb, but you guys come to us with all your questions because we're going to answer them, even if they're dumb like mine.
Yeah, I just, God's vision, you and I have talked about this before, but his vision for this that he is having us do was about how we cope with everyday life according to the Bible, like to live our best life for Jesus and how we deal with everyday life, you know? And I do feel like the past couple series, we kind of got away from that.
It just got too heavy. I think we probably should have quit the relationships when it was starting to feel heavy. But I think I just kept thinking it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like in a real relationship, sometimes it doesn't get better.
Yeah.
It's harder, but sometimes you come out on the other side and everything's all right.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't. Okay. Yeah. Y'all interact with us. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you want to hear. Um, all I can hear right now is my dog scratching at the door.
He misses you.
Oh my gosh.
All right, signing off, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.